All right, so how many of you have ever heard of a stem and leaf plot? A couple kids from my first class said that they have heard about it in 4th grade, that they were just exposed to it briefly in 4th grade. So stem and leaf plots are taking data like this in a table, and they are putting it into a graph that looks like this. I know it looks kind of funny, but I'm going to explain that to you. So how do we read a stem and leaf plot? Well, these two kids have a dog grooming business, and the table shows the number of dogs that they groomed in the past 8 weeks. Now, it doesn't matter which goes with which week. That's not important. All that's important right now is that the numbers are in this chart. So 1 week it was 52, 1 week it was 45, 1 week it was 20, and so forth. Another way to organize this data is to put it in a graph. So today we're going to learn about stem and leaf plots. We've already talked about bars, pictures, and line graphs. Without drawing a graph, we can actually order these numbers in order from least to greatest, right? You could probably whip that out in 20 seconds. Well, today that's important. You're going to have to put these numbers in front of you in order from least to greatest. And you need to make sure you don't miss one. So it's always a good idea once you've used it to cross it out today. A stem and leaf plot is a convenient way to organize data using numbers and place value. So everybody needs to understand today what tens are and what ones are. Does everybody understand what tens and ones are? All right, so here we go. We're going to take the numbers from here and we are going to put them over into the stem and leaf plot. A stem, right here, a stem are the numbers that represent the tens. They are on the left of a stem and leaf plot. Typically there is the word stem and you can see them underneath. So the part of the data that the stem represents is the tens digit. So this would be 10s, 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. Now oftentimes at the bottom of a stem and leaf chart they do put a key down there. So it'll say 1 bar 4 means 14. The leaf actually represents the ones digits. The ones of each data form a leaf. So when you think of a plant, you know that the stem is the center, right? It's the most important part because if there were not a stem, you wouldn't have any leaves. So keys just help give you a visual how to read a stem and leaf plot. This key shows that 1 bar 4 means 14. So the data on this stem and leaf plot represents the 5 and the 2. 5 10s and 2 1s mean 52. 4 10s and 5 1s represent 45. 4 10s and 8 1s represent 48. So when we start to plot all these, we always want to start with our smallest. So we're going to read the data over here and we're going to put it over here. So my smallest number is 14. I put 1 because it's 1 10 and 4 1s. Is there any other number over there that's in the tens? No. So I move on to the next largest number, which is the 20. The 20 is the next largest number. So I put a 2 in for the 20 and a 0 in for the 10. I never repeat my stem, but I can repeat my leaf. So for example, are there any numbers over there that are repeated twice? Nothing, right? Nothing is repeated twice. If there were, let's pretend that there were 2 14s. We would put an additional 4 right here. Okay? So the numbers on the stem and leaf plot are all of these right there. This is how we plotted them in order. So far, so good? We're going to make some because I think it's going to help you guys. Okay, so the first thing, I want you to look at one that's already made. Okay, this one's already made for us. They put the numbers from a table in order, from the least to the greatest. My first question is, if you look at that stem and leaf plot, what is the smallest representation? The smallest number represented is, Caden? 12. 1 10 and 2 1s, 12. How about the largest number represented? Will? Bigger. 45. Okay? How many leaves are there in the 2 stem? Darius? There are 3 of them. There is 20, 24, and 27. Okay? How about how many numbers are represented that are smaller than 25? How many numbers are represented that are smaller than 25? Sarah? 6 of them. 24 is less than? Whoops. 20 is less, 19, 18, 15, and 12. Those are all less than 25. Okay, so we are going to make one. Now it says we can use the graphing tool on this website, but I don't want to do that because I feel like it's going to be easier if we draw one out. I wish that yeah, because I'm recording this lesson, now that I think of it, I think I'm going to have to write it out. Okay, so we have the stem here, and we have the leaf here. So what is the smallest number represented in this data? Aiden? 10. Okay, so I know that I'm going to have a 1 leaf. What is the largest number represented in this data? Will? 70. So I know that I'm going to have a 7 in the stem. Are there any in between that we know for sure are in here? Okay, tell me. 20s, there are some 20s. 30s, we have to go in order of the stem. So 10s, there's 20s, there's 30s. There's 40s, okay. There's no 50s, but there are 60s. So we can ignore that. We can just leave out the 50s. But I can put in the 60s. I'm going to pause it for a second. All right, so now that we know these are all the stems that we have, now we need to put in the leaves. So let's look at only the 1 stems. What are the numbers in order from least to greatest that are in the 10s? 13, what else did you say? 15, 16, 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 of them up there. Okay. How many in the 2 stem? 22, 27. How about the 3 stem?
39.
How about the 4 stem?
41, 46.
So you write it twice. 46, 46.
64,
So there is our information, all in order from least to greatest. Now, by looking at that stem and leaf plot, what number is duplicated? Kaylin? 46 is duplicated. How many times? Twice. It could be duplicated more than once, or more than twice, excuse me. You could certainly do that. Now, is it unusual to have a missing stem like the 5s? No, that's not unusual. That happens. What stem, when you look at this stem and leaf plot, what stem has the most leaves? Natasha, what stem has the most leaves? How many leaves does this have? It only has 1. No, that's not correct. What stem has the most leaves, Natasha? You're going to have to say it out loud so I can hear you. The what? The first one, stem number 1. How many leaves does it have, Natasha? It has 6 of them. Okay? Which stem has the least amount of leaves? Aaron P? The 7 stem. How many numbers are represented that are larger than 50? How many numbers represented are larger than 50? Aiden? 3 numbers. 60, 64, and 70. Okay, good work, you guys. We're going to look at a few stem and leaf plots and try to answer some questions about them. Here's our first one. How many numbers fall between 32 and 43? Caden? 3 of them. What are they? 38, 40, and 41. She's correct. Now, which number occurs the most often in this stem and leaf plot? Eileen? 30. How many times does it occur? Twice. Good work. How many values are less than 65? Less than 65. I know it's really hard to see from the back. Lingen? There's 13 of them. Starting right here is less than 35. All of those, whoops, all of those, and all of these. Okay. Sorry. How many values fall between 52 and 73? Cole? Another 13. So 52 starts here, and 73, it's going to end here. So if you count all those up, there are 13 of them. Last one. Now this is going to be super hard to see because here's our information and here's all the stem and leaf plots. Okay? So let's look here. Right away, we see that they all have 3 stems. Right away, I see the difference in stem number 3. One of them has 32 and the other 3 have 33. Let's see if there's a 32 up here. No, so we know right away we can get rid of A. We're done with A. Okay, now let's go to the 2 stem. We have a 2, a 3, and an 8, a 2, a 3, and a 9, and a 2, a 3, and a 9. Well, let's see. We would need 23 and, or no, 20, 28 and 29. There's no 28. So we can eliminate B. So we're down to these 2, right? So now when I look at the ones, I should see a difference. This one has 2 6s and this one has 1. So what does that represent? 16. Let's see if there's 1 16 or 2 16s. So it's got to be C. Good work, you guys. All right, now it's going to be time for you to try one of these.